What's up everybody, it's MoySauce from the Civ Show, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. We're gonna be doing something not Civ related. Instead, we're gonna be doing a game called Humankind, which is a very similar game to Civilization. Some may say it may be the Civilization killer. Something to note is that the game is in pre-alpha, so everything you see in the game may not be in the final version of the game. They also created 3 time-limited scenarios. They sample specific parts of the game, so not all of the features are included in these scenarios, similar to how even Conquest of Alexander scenario in Civilization only really features the combat section of the game, but you don't get into the technology trees, you don't get into the civics tree, you don't get into the government. It's very, very similar scenarios in these scenarios. Something interesting to note is that when they're running these betas, they're collecting feedback at the end of every game. And so it's interesting that there's a developer who's so interested in the community feedback that they're willing to release parts of the game early, gather feedback, and directly change the outcome of the final product. I think that's really cool. I think this is super intuitive, and I hope more developers even do this in the future, because honestly, you're building a game for the community. Why not get the community feedback while you're developing the game? It's a great idea. I'm totally behind it. With that in mind, let's get started. This is kind of what the menu. So I decided instead to do a voiceover. Over the course of this voiceover, I'll be showing you the biggest differences between Civilization and Humankind. I'm currently playing the first scenario in the pre-alpha, and this introduces the player to settling new cities, city management, and exploring the map. With this army action, you can set up an outpost or on an unclaimed territory, one without any city or outpost already on it. In the future, this outpost can become a city. Okay, so when I build an outpost, it can become a city. So instead of having settlers, you kind of just build these outposts, and then I guess they can become a city. So settle new cities in Humankind, you need to make a claim to a territory of land. The land is made up of predefined bordered territories indicated by the white dashed line. All it takes to claim the land is to build an outpost. Any unit can build an outpost and does not require a special settler unit, like in Civilization. To upgrade an outpost into a city, that requires gold that scales higher with each owned city. Over here, let's complete this outpost, shall we? Let's see what this looks like. All right, so I now have another little settlement here, but it's just an outpost, so I have to kind of make it grow in order for it to turn into a city. I have 100 gold though, so let's see if I can turn something into a city here. So this one had horses, so let me go take this one and build this into a city. It takes me 3 turns and 100 gold. Boom, done. So then let's see how this progresses. We have some people like kind of moving around. Everybody's running away, it seems like, from the town, but that's like a nice little outpost right there. What are these horses doing? What the world? Similarly to Civilization 6, there are infrastructure buildings that can be built to increase the yields in your cities. There are even districts to build in Humankind, but they act a little bit differently than they do in Civilization. Let's build a farmer's quarter. It says I have to build this on a farm, so I guess it already like, oh, I have to, can I build this anywhere? No, I guess I have to build it only 1 tile away from a city. Maybe I can expand that out further and further and further. But this gives me, we already have a farm here. So let's put it here. This seems like the best place. Unfortunately, I couldn't explore this part of the game too much. I apparently turned on this thing called science mode, and basically what it does is it turns your production into science, and I didn't know how to get out of it. No, turn it back. Oh, no, turn it back off. Turn it back off. I thought it was, oh no. Citizen management is about the same in Civilization 6, but instead of working individual tiles, you assign people to work for individual yields. You can move citizens this way. Interesting, interesting. So instead of like working individual tiles, you kind of have these like, okay, you can have 2 people here assigned to food. So you can say, I want to grow my food, or I want to grow my industry, or I want to grow my money. And you can see how they change. Okay, cool. In Civilization, all the units are laid out beforehand in a free-forming, ever-changing battlefield. There's a little bit of strategy in terms of placing units in the correct space, but nothing that is extremely game-changing, unless of course you're holding a chokehold between a mountain pass. In Humankind, you group units in what I like to call your travel phase. They call this your army. There's an indicator of how many units are within the army by clicking on it, and you can see what units make up the army. When you go into battle, then you initiate the battle phase. Now I need to deploy my units. So this is what I was talking about, where in travel, you can kind of combine all your units, but as soon as battle starts, this is where the deployment phase is, and now you have to place your individual units. So if I had 2 scouts in here, I'd have to place both scouts on this little map here. So let's say I want to have a high ground advantage here. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to see kind of what happens. So I'm going to end the deployments, and now I'm in the battle phase. So I can attack. I have 13 combat strength, but I have -3 for crossing a river, which I didn't notice, but I guess I do see it. It's kind of adjacent to it. And I can hit it. So I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna attack, I'm gonna see how this goes. And they hit the deer, and I did not take much damage. Oh, there's another deer. Oh, there's 2 deer. I didn't even see this one. Oh, I'm a whole bunch of dumb. Okay. Something to note, it's also kind of cool. I can kind of do other things while this is happening. So while that battle is happening, it is my turn during the battle. However, I can kind of just say, okay, I'm going to explore over here while I wait for my turn to happen again. Let's go back to battle. Now it's my turn. Oh, interesting. Okay. Now I'm back here. I can attack. May not be the smartest move. I'm going to go ahead and move up here and see what happens when I move up here. Making choices as a leader of an empire is what makes or breaks the kingdom. There's an outbreak of measles. How do you manage your citizens? What gods do you believe in? Do you believe in the lunar calendar or the solar calendar? These are in-game events that happen at random throughout the game, and everything requires a choice. A game of prophecy. I like these events too. This changes the game. It changes kind of how you play every game. With the empire thriving, a new game hailing from a foreign land beguiles the population. Everywhere you go, the distinctive game board and pieces catching your eye. Insisting on a public demonstration, you play the game under instruction in your palace court, but the event has a sting in the tail. The game is reckoned to be a form of divination, as well as entertainment. Gasps could be heard as the game's prophecy became clear. You are fated to lose everything. What will you do? Silence. If the prophecy spread, the results could be devastating. Every witness should be paid off. So I have to pay everybody. Wow. Overlook, let the people gossip. The prophecy will soon be proved false. Defiant on Babylon for 10 turns. Or heed. We must listen to the divination and prepare for the worst. Superstitious on Babylon for 10. -2 science. Considering I have a ton of science early on, this seems to be the most logical thing to do for me. So I'm gonna take that. I don't really need science right now. I kind of like ran my science out, right? The terrain is a much bigger deal in Humankind than it is in Civilization. There are mountainsides that players cannot travel, but still leaves a line of vision, meaning archers can shoot at players below safely. From my experience with combat, high ground is king, and the placement of your troops will make or break your battles. Use rivers as a defensive advantage by making your opponents cross them. Place your units on high ground and hold. The only real way to advance through is to have siege or ranged units barrage at the enemy first. There are more differences in the game, but I'm not going to go into it as these are the major parts that set apart Civilization and Humankind. Overall, the aesthetics of Humankind is amazing. The little details they place in the map are cool. You have like even these little birds on the map. Just the small attention to detail that Humankind has is really nice. There's even a lion here. You can see like a little lion or a little animals like running across. Like that's neat. That's cool. I like that. The battle system is unique. It will be fun for single player. However, how will it be in a competitive environment? With the series as established as Civilization and with a fan base just as loyal to the franchise, it's going to be hard to dethrone Civilization. I do think the two games can coexist and play alongside each other, growing the 4X genre. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to The Civ Show. If you enjoy history, I would recommend Nystagmus's Better Know a Leader series, where he goes over the history of the Civilization 6 leaders. You can also check out our recent content down in the bottom right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.